Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. Maggie Wolfendale is back. You haven't been on for like 3 weeks. You left us. Yeah, 3 weeks. You were in 2 weeks ago. You were in Fairgrounds. You haven't been on with me in this show.
Right. Okay.
And then
so
you went to Fairgrounds. And
Fairgrounds
then
off, and then I was at Oakland last weekend. Yeah.
And you're back.
I'm back.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. It's nice to see you.
Got drowned yesterday outside.
Oh God.
But today I'm like, let me
Today
out
will be
there.
nice, yeah.
Let me out there.
Today will be
yeah.
nice, yeah. I know. It's like a spring day out there.
It's beautiful.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. We're on actually from 2 to 5 today. We'll get started here. Head over to Naira Bets. And you know the drill. Use the promo code BONUS200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. NairaBets.com. While you're over there, you can check out track stats. All that information available at NairaBets.com. We have a $15 bonus. If you got 50 or more at Aqueduct, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita, opt in for that. Of course, Santa Anita, the big cap day. We got a couple of grade ones out there as well. What else do we have? Cross Country Big Five, 2 here, 3 at Oaklawn. Now, only race 7 will be on our show from Oaklawn, as we are on from 2 to 5 today. We were supposed to be on 3 to 6, but we are now on 2 to 5. That's a cue, Eddie, to roll over that slate. There you go. And you don't have that much to do today. Get the slates right. 2 to 5 today on FS2. What did you think of the Gotham yesterday?
Very impressive for Deterministic coming back. 81 buyers, a 2-year-old first time out. Second start runs a 93 and really did it with the utmost ease. I mean, he's a very proficient mover. I liked what I saw as far as his, at least from my vantage point, his physical and mental development. He broke more alertly.
He was so much more professional than his debut.
Yeah. So future looks bright for him. Really excited.
I got a little 107 to 1 on him in the Derby futures pool.
Nice.
Yeah, very excited.
Nice. Very, you should
I know,
be.
I'm
That's
excited.
great. I mean, the Derby's so
chaotic,
but still,
still
that's
long
awesome
shot.
for you to look forward to.
It might be his true odds right now. So,
Yeah.
maybe a few, probably a little better than that.
Yeah.
But no, I was happy to see him come back. Yeah. I thought the runner-up ran very well to be second there. I think he was just over bet. And then there's this illusion that because he runs a big figure, an 89 in February cruising along on a wet track versus an 81 at 7 furlongs as a 2-year-old with a troubled trip.
Huge.
It's not like he had run a better race. Now, I know Christoph's horse was coming off a longer layoff, but Christoph has good numbers coming off a layoff. So,
And he's also good with first-time starters as well. So, you always feel confident with him coming back with these types of horses. But, just a touch. There we go.
Yeah.
I thought as though he could, use some more racing to develop a bit more. I thought a lot was, and I say this knowing that Deterministic was in the same
but I think Brad would agree.
boat, but he just felt like a more unfurnished,
unfinished. Unfurnished is an apartment that's empty.
Yeah, well, we use that when we talk about horses physically.
Yeah, well, I speak English, but you guys, the racetrack, you've got your own language.
When you're in the paddock and you have to talk about the same things over and over again, you like to come up with different.
Maggie has Wolfendale. Maggie's going to come up with a book. I think it's going to be Wolfendale. We're going to call it.
Anyway.
You make just as much fun of yourself to me all the time in text. Who are you kidding?
To be fair, I stole that. I stole Unfurnished from Francesca Cumani.
Really?
When I was
Don't be proud
England.
of that.
I'm just saying. They use it in England quite a lot.
Well, they can have it. Anyway.
And you just told me you speak English, so it is there.
Pretty much. Well, unfurnished is an English word, just not in that manner. Anyway. All right, let's get started. Race number 1. If something clever happens in race number 1, I don't know about you, Maggie. I'm not going to have it. You and I agree. We'll take a look. I went back and found the race 3 back for Print Rack when all 3 of these horses ran 1, 2, 3, hitting the wire together. But I don't know. Print Rack is loose, and he seems to have gotten pretty good since then. If he loses, Maggie, I'm losing too.
Yeah, same. He is the quintessential horse that Rudy's going to do well with. Obviously the form says that. Rudy's a big fan of an extension blinker. This horse needs an extension blinker. And at times he's found himself kind of embroiled in faster paces, like this one here, and he's still kind of gutting it out. So today it almost looks like a walk in the park because it just does not appear to be anybody nearly as fast as him.
We haven't seen Nola Contesta since that race.
I thought he ran okay
in
that effort, and I thought he looked better than ever. Where has he been? That concerns me a little bit. But I just thought he was the next best option.
I'm with you. The one I don't trust of the 3 is Big Engine.
Absolutely. So, first of all, it doesn't appear as though he's going to get a supersonic pace setup, right?
No, he's not.
He's not. So, and last time he was out sprinted early. We saw What's Up Bro wire the field, and he kind of got to run up. He loves, as you accurately pointed out, 2 or 3 years ago, he's a rail runner.
He likes to run inside.
He got to do that last time. Then I looked up stats for Wayne Potts. First off the claim here at Aqueduct in the last 6 months, he's 1 for 18, 51 cent ROI. I don't trust him anymore.
Yeah, if I was using a backup like you, I would use the 5. And the track is muddy. It's muddy and sealed. We need to get sealed on the TV and keep that in mind.
They did have it open, trying to dry it out.
Okay.
A lot of times they will seal it again. But
Eric sent us a text and said that it's going to be
Okay.
sealed for the first race. Now, whether or not that could change afterwards, I hope it does. It is a beautiful day, and it could certainly dry
like
out.
you said, it looks like they're trying to get it to dry out.
And the track, I think, is something to talk about. We had an odd day, first Thursday and Friday, where I don't think the rail was dead per se. I think it was more of an outside flow type track.
Absolutely.
Probably better off not inside, but I don't think it was a terrible rail. Yesterday, early, Duck Fat came right up the rail basically and ran second. I wondered if as the day went on,
don't you think?
I think as the day went on, maybe riders just wanted to be more outside.
Yeah.
There was just no running done anywhere near the rail.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know if the rail was bad or you just wanted to be outside because the riders just stayed there.
And then on days
better or
like
worse.
this, historically speaking, we often see the rail and speed being potentially dangerous.
Well, sometimes, when the track dries out, that
Yep.
happens. But we had such a different track this week, and it's been,
True.
it's been a bit of a struggle. I mean, we had a period after like the first few days of racing in February, we had fair tracks for the most part. But then this week was a little bit different, and we'll see how things turn out. And the track actually got a little faster as far as the times
It
went
sped
on
up.
yesterday.
Yeah,
I'd
with deterministic running faster than.
Yeah, they split that variant.
this
I
timing.
think for the last 2 races,
Yeah,
as a
it
matter of
sped
fact,
up,
because it
absolutely.
seemed even like the toboggan or the
Yeah.
Tom Fool was running at a faster, a little bit faster clip. Race number 2, we'll go into race number 2, and form at a premium in race number 2,
Yeah.
which is why I showed a replay of a horse, Dorth Soul Dancer, we can go to, who neither one of us really likes, but at least she's coming in off her best race. I just feel like somebody else is going to run a better race.
Don't you think she was on the good rail for most of the way as well? She was able to tip out.
Oh,
here
yeah,
behind
no,
the
I
gate to
totally
wire
agree.
winner.
She was on the good rail, and she angled out in the stretch. The second place finisher came back and ran 4 buyer points worse. I'm not a big fan of her in this race. I didn't like her, and I thought she'd probably take some money. I don't really know.
It's almost one of those races where it feels like everybody except Mysaria is probably going to take a similar amount of money.
Yeah.
You're going to see 4 options in here that are around about the same price. You went to number 2, Solo Shot. She does look loose in here, but maybe I'm reading way too far into the intangibles here, but they paid nearly $300,000 for this daughter of Solomini, and at that point, unproven. He has worked out to be a fairly good freshman sire of New York breds, and she's a stakes winner too, and they are just giving up on her. It feels like if they thought she had any ability or any reason or redeeming qualities that she could develop, they would give her maybe a little break, because she did have a somewhat extensive two-year-old
Good news,
campaign.
though, for Alex Bregman. He's gonna as a free agent next year, so he can afford to have a little loss to this horse. You do wonder if she has enough broodmare value. I mean, for 32,
Twirling
and if somebody would
Candymare?
claim her for that.
Right.
But listen, I have a lot of reservations about her, and I didn't particularly want to pick her on top. But she is going to be loose, and she broke slowly and then rushed up she stumbled into an insane pace last
Absolutely.
time.
I
So
agree
I
with
can give
you.
her a pass for it. She's a bit of a funny story. She's the horse that they hated before she ever ran.
Okay, so I was going to bring this up too. George didn't like her.
George didn't like her at all.
George didn't like her at all. Remember,
I don't think Manny didn't like her.
interviewed
Manny didn't like her either.
No, and then all of the owners were like, she can't lose, she can't lose. I swear to you, all of the ownership, the
Okay.
partnerships, she can't lose. And George is like, I didn't really like her.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I remember I was on set with Jonathan, and Jonathan told me I picked her because George Weaver off the turn. It was
Yeah.
it wasn't like some great handicapping feat. And Jonathan said to me as they went in the gate, George hates this horse. Can't run.
Yes,
and
George
said
did
that
not like her.
said that
He
Manny had
said-
worked her and she wasn't very good. And Alex Bregman even sent me a message and said we were shocked. Well, I heard she wasn't any good. Well,
some
I'm-
people, for whatever reason.
Well, except I'm not sure that George was wrong. That's what I'm saying.
George
She
is
ran a couple
flabbergasted.
races.
I
and
interviewed
she,
him after
No, I
the
remember,
fact,
and
and he was like-
he was in the winner's circle, and he was stunned. And
Yeah.
he said to you, "I didn't
Yeah.
like her." He was perfectly honest about it. What I'm saying is, I'm not sure he ultimately was wrong. I think she kind of fooled him for
Mm-hmm.
a couple races, and now it turns out that he was kind of right. She's not very good.
Yeah.
So I think she fooled him for a couple of races, and
Right.
now she is who she is. But she is loose, and she had an excuse last time. And my problem with Taven is she's an ex-Brittany Russell horse that's been absolutely falling apart. And as much as I love Michelle Nevin, it's not like she has great numbers off the claim, and I'm just a little worried. I know she was a little against the track last time, and I can never excuse for that. But having said that, she was basically eased, and her form has been declining, ex-Brittany Russell, and that worries me about her, even though I picked her second.
What I saw is that I didn't like Solo Shot, though the speed concerns me. I thought, though, that Taven could show a bit more speed because she had it with Brittany. I know it went away when she went to the other barn, but I'm wondering, Michelle Nevin, Jose Gomez, we've seen Jose be aggressive with these horses.
It's not going to outrun Solo Shot. Solo Shot's
No,
fast.
but she's going, I feel like there's the potential for her to be more forward than what she
She should be
has
sitting
been.
second. I don't disagree with you. I just, listen, I picked her second. I'm not way against her. I was weighing two horses that I don't like, and I feel like one of them will probably win. And you know I want to pick Dave Duggan, but I mean, Spite Stance, she's just not very good.
No, I will say though,
might
I
win,
mean,
but-
out of that last race, they're not necessarily next to Mount winners, but two horses have come back to win, including Amy's Light and the other one yesterday, Jay something. Jay's Oscar
the
Barrera
first-
horse.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was that horse $7? And then Linda the next race
I
at 2
know.
to 1. I don't
Anyway,
know. Listen,
yeah.
we're debating. Both of us picked horses that I don't think we're particularly excited about.
Gosh,
but
no.
in this race, there's just not a lot going on. Race
Yeah.
number 3, I'll go back 3 starts with Have You Heard to find a replay that shows the horse running well. But I got to tell you something. I mean, this is a case where the winner is probably going to be the 1, 3, or 7 in here, all the drop downs, and it's almost impossible to have a particularly confident opinion on any of these horses. This horse, Have You Heard, was absolutely atrocious last time, and I don't want to
I
use
think he got a bad ride. I remember.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I
go
remember
ahead.
Bruce coming to me and being like, "Did you just see that?"
I would. You know, here's my question. I watched it. I don't think that Eric tried to be last with him early, though Eric ends up last with a lot of horses early. It is weird that that horse was last, but the horse had no speed. Do you think Eric just threw the anchor down?
Well, and then he launches this ridiculous
I know,
wide
the big 4 or 5
run
wide run. Yep, I know.
Third.
I know.
And you know, eventually ultimately wired by Ridgewood Runner, would come back and win again. But at least this horse has run. You know, you're taking the
course.
Mott or the Chad Brown horse just because it's Mott or Chad Brown. For me, neither of those horses have done any running.
Well, I'm going to say that with Middle Market, I'm not so sure. I actually thought he ran a little bit in his debut. That was a day that speed was very good. Then they come back 2 months later and they run 1 mile and 1/8. Okay, he doesn't run. Now, last time he wasn't good, but I don't know what was going on. It's not Manny's fault because Manny rode this horse. Manny was trying with this horse. But
He could not keep up.
did you see his gallop out? He just ran by everybody once the race was over. Now, that just may be because he's a phony fraud that doesn't want to run when the races are going
Yeah.
on. But he runs by everybody in the gallop out. And I will say one thing, Chad Brown's numbers, maiden special weight to maiden claimer, are very strong. And he's over $2 ROI. At Aqueduct, he's 6 for 14. Overall, he's 17 for 51 with a 202 ROI. And the horse is not going to be favored. And I agree, you know, it is odd that suddenly he had no more speed when Eric rode him, and Eric is a rider often sits back there. But I watched that replay a couple times, and you know me, I'm ready to pin anything. I'm ready to blame Eric for when I get a hangnail. But I'm going to tell you, I couldn't see what he was doing wrong. Maybe
I just
no,
think
I'm not
it was
saying
the
you're
wrong way
wrong.
to ride that horse.
But I'm just not sure the horse had any speed. Maybe he just never should need to ask him out of the gate. And for the rail, Kendrick has to ask him.
Yeah,
He has
well,
to,
that's
right?
why Kendrick's on him too.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Well, Louis Rivera
you
rode
would
him fine.
think. Okay, fine. I just feel like you're taking Middle Market. Don't you think he's going to be at least second choice in here?
Yeah, well, I mean, David's got Bounty as second choice.
What would this horse be if somebody else trained him? He'd be 10 to 1.
Well, you know, but he does train him. And they do win a lot of races. And they do
Okay.
have good numbers dropping from maiden
Okay,
special
I'm
weight
not going to be
claimer.
surprised when he wins,
I'm
but
not.
I really don't think he's done much running.
My problem with the one is the horse lost by 5 lengths at 3-5. Now, I know the horse that beat him's very good. And he went down to Fairgrounds, 3-horse field or not, and ran a big figure. And I wonder what race Todd's pointing to him. Maybe he'll run him in the Louisiana Derby. At this point, he could be Todd's best Derby horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they said, I mean,
That was.
I've
been around a long time. I've never seen a race fall apart. I mean, I felt bad for everybody. I mean, it's just
I did too.
And then for Speakeasy to throw the rider and that post parade. I mean,
not a good day for Todd.
no, and I mean, but just and would go the Gulfstream and the Fountain of Youth, and let's face it, there aren't that many Derby preps. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So every one of them is a precious opportunity to see these horses, and a lot of people follow the Triple Crown Trail. And here you've got Locked coming back, who was the favorite Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Dornoch obviously, but Speakeasy, that impressive main winner, and Victory Avenue as well, and it just completely and totally imploded.
I can't believe it doesn't seem like Locked. I know you're right, but you said
he was favored in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Yeah, I'd forgotten
but
it too.
I guess it makes sense.
Well, Nick Tamaro tweeted it the other day. I'd forgotten it too.
Yeah, it didn't.
Well, he
seem
did
like
run well in the Breeders' Futurity, and it's it's hard to know when you'll see him again. And I hope Speakeasy is back relatively soon as well. But a situation like that is going to take Speakeasy off Triple Crown Trail, which frankly might be the best thing for him.
I agree.
It might be better if they got to take a step back and find a non-winners of one for him and be looking towards a race like the Peter Pan. and if he can make it to the Belmont Stakes.
Great.
That's great. But I agree. I mean, he's rush. And I know Mage won the Derby, but did it really benefit him in the long run?
Nope.
So I think it could be, I mean, obviously, it's incredibly disappointing what happened yesterday, but maybe for them it'll be a blessing in disguise. Yeah. I'm not running to the window to bet middle market. I've always thought he had a little ability. He may just suck. I can't take Have You Heard off his last race, and I don't know what to get from Bounteous. I mean, Bill's numbers, his percentages are solid with his maiden special maiden claimers. This horse hasn't done any running, and he's never taken a nickel either.
No. I mean, but
Which is why I think you're right. He's going to be third choice.
Figures-wise, I mean, he looks the same if you eliminate his turf effort. And I think overall, I mean, this is kind of a very debatable fact, but he may have been in some of the better races, facing the better horses. But I don't, like you said, I don't trust him.
I want to hear about Sounds Like Fun.
Oh, there's no real speed horse in here.
Well, I think the one's a speed. You don't think the 4 is a speed?
No, I think the 1 is. And and Raleigh St. Clair.
Are you there with Silvera?
I don't know.
He's a big price. I don't have a problem. I'm asking you. I'm not making fun of you.
Okay. So I thought last time, he was coming off a little bit of a freshing, first time on the dirt. He showed early foot and he looked green, like down on the rail, taking pick back. It was like very flustered. So now the blinkers go on. I know I'm taking just a little bit of a punch in the dark.
You've got a good race to take a shot. The 3 and 7 might be total just roaches, and the 1 will be, the ones who knows what he is.
Because it's low profile connections.
It's fine. No, I'm curious.
I just with a lot of the horses outside of the 1 that project to take money in here, they don't have speed. And I wanted somebody that was going to be close.
Least forward and a rider's forward.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. Listen, that's a race where somebody goofy ends up winning. It's not like you're going to say, gee, I can't believe it. I can't believe that Bounteous and Middle Market didn't show up in this race.
Yeah, except for Print Rack.
Race number 4 I thought was a fun race on today's card. And we'll start the conversation in race 4 with Safa's Day, who I thought ran very well behind Print Rack. On the other hand, look who Print Rack is running in the first race against, and look at who this horse is running against, big figure or not. And I also thought it brings attention to that figure because it even comes up high for him on a buyer's
Right, because, and Print Rack comes back with an 87, so not necessarily flattering himself. And, first, and like you always say, never know quite what you're going to get with Jacobson.
I really don't.
Are you going to see, good performances strung together here? And it was his first start in a while. Could he have just been fresh and ran his race? Is he going to come back and duplicate that?
Is he the inside of a bunch of speeds? He's got secret rules we'll get to in a second, disarmed outside of him. So what kind of trip is he going to work out in here? Is he going to take back off them? How's that going to work out? And what do you do with secret rules? I'll go back to May at Belmont. I always like to go back to Belmont when we can, when he beat H.P. Moon, who things didn't go well for him. But I don't know how you trust him.
He comes out of a live race, but exactly. I mean, he was a short price coming back off the layoff after the voided claim. Those horses
got the
they
lead and
fit
stopped.
here, and he stopped.
Yep.
And he was a give up of Bill Mott's way back when, and Rob Falcone and his team did right by the horse, gave him the time,
Did
had
well with
been
him.
patient with him, and it has paid off. But it just feels like he's a little bit untrustworthy. Plus, I don't want to pay too much stock into putting the apprentice on, but
Who is he?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, there's two riders that we brought up that neither one of
I
us and
know.
I have heard of. The
I
person
feel like
riding
I've
here next
seen
week.
this name before.
I've seen this name, and he's won. He's winning at 19%, so he obviously
Right.
can ride. I mean, I'm
Right.
not. Yeah, no, I.
But yeah.
So you're going to go for the three-peat with Thrill of It. We'll take a look at
I
his
know
last
that's
race.
I
He's a
looked
very
at that.
rare horse for me that I picked twice in a row that won both times.
Yeah.
Normally I pick a horse twice in a row, they lose both times.
I just like the fact too that they've stuck with sprinting him. He
Yes.
was certainly flattered by Factually Correct coming back and winning
He
yesterday.
got such a delicious trip in this race.
Yeah, but doesn't he look to get it again?
No, I agree. He could. No, I picked him second. I'm not.
I know it's so tough for horses to string together these wins back to back to back, and I think he's a really cool story too. You know,
Totally.
Tanya bought him for $1,000 as a yearling,
He's amazing.
and John and her own him. So you know, he's kind of a cool horse in that respect. Do I love him here?
I don't think
No,
you love
just
anybody
for the
here.
fact that, yeah, it's just hard to keep a horse winning. I thought Cowan, your top choice in here is very interesting.
I thought he was too. You know, I watched his last race. He was down towards the rail. I don't have the rail necessarily being bad that day at Parks. It seems horses ran okay towards the inside, but at times he's run good races and is similar to Thrill of It. He's a horse that rates a little bit. He's handled a wet track here at Aqueduct. He's run some big figures. He's run against some tough competition. And I thought he might fall into the right kind of trip in here, and I'd rather take him at a slightly better price than Thrill of It.
And you know, sometimes chart comments and callers can be very subjective, but it did say it was very unruly in the post parade. That's not something that I've ever observed from him in his NYRA appearances.
The last chart said that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know the extent of unruly. I don't know exactly what that means per se, but
Yeah,
it
right.
did say that, and he did get a little bit headstrong behind horses early, and then just had nothing left. So I feel like we can forgive him for that effort at Parks.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a pass and give him a shot in here. Disarm's in great form too, and he's got the right outside post for a speed. I'm just worried the pace is going to be a little bit tough for him, but
Yep.
not as tough as running against Rotney.
Yeah, he didn't really show up yesterday.
Well, there's been a string of maker short-priced horses over the last week or so that have
really?
completely and totally failed to show up, and I think it's.
It feels like he goes on weeks where he can't
We couldn't lose here. I mean, he was winning at like 40% here, and it's hard to keep him going. But he's had more than a few logical horses run particularly badly. But then again, he won the McDermott again yesterday, which he wins every year. This time at like 12-1. We'll take a break, Maggie, and I'll be back.
Was
with
it
the late pick
Therapist
four.
last year?
No.
No.
Last year was Therapist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Off the claim.
Yeah.
It was Starting Over, I think was the horse. Yes, Starting only Starley. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
And we are back. I'm Maggie and Andy, race number 5, and 4 I'm at a premium in here. But I will tell you one thing. There are some amusing horses in this race. I mean,
I spent way too much time on this race.
who didn't? How could you make a pick here? Well, first of all, you start with Cavendish,
Oh,
right?
gosh.
I mean, okay, Cavendish may win for Brittany Russell, a Baffert cast-off, but Brittany's done well. She won the Carter last year
And let me
with a
tell
Bob
you-
cast-off.
They are not easy horses to inherit and do well with.
Oh, I'm sure they aren't. Well, this is.
The well is often dry.
Well, I can't believe they bought a horse for only $140,000.
And
That's
he
what were they
accepted it
thinking?
into his barn. I know.
This horse's last race was pitiful.
really was.
And pitiful.
I will say it came back a fast race though, right?
Not by him, but
No,
but if he, I mean, we both got him second, but
Yeah.
man, his last race was bad. And Brittany's numbers dropping down, and their percentage is kind of high, but the ROI is not good because they're all short prices. And isn't this, like David said, going to be like 2 to 1?
And it wasn't even like he was coming off a layoff where you could be like, oh, he just, he
Yeah.
ran for a little bit, he stopped, he needed the race. No, that's just what he does.
And he's
Just
getting worse with every
stops.
start. He may
Yeah.
win, but I'm not betting him. And then there's Hazon. So apparently Hazon, because David Aragona looks up, I'm going to try to get this right. He can text me if I got it wrong. That China Horse Club owned him for $350, and then he got into the auction again November of his 2-year-old year. He had never worked, and they bought him again for $450,000. Did you look up this horse's pedigree?
I didn't. That's bad of me.
Can you look it up while we're on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, look up the pedigree on this horse. I don't know if somewhere hidden in there is Dr. Fager, but I think I don't know. Yeah, I looked up the second dam. I mean, this first family is ridiculous on this horse to have spent this much money. I mean, I know it's a street sense, but that's a lot of money, and they bought it back after the horse. According to David, it had not worked.
Dam won on the turf.
Right. Her 2 foals couldn't outrun you and I in a horse suit, I believe.
What is GP little r? Is that, I don't even know where that is. The one
track?
that, yeah,
I don't know.
Century Mile, it must be,
Century Mile is up in Canada.
no, I know that. This must be some Canadian
Oh.
fair meets.
The
The leading earner.
And this
who made
horse-
40,000.
They tried sprinting on the dirt. They tried long on the synthetic, and the dam is a turf horse. And
IDK.
it's Todd. Nothing will surprise me, but I mean, this horse might not be able to be 2
like-
feet in front of each other.
He debuts when it's not even the championship meet down at Gulfstream.
Maggie, let me just say something. It's always the championship meet down at Gulfstream. Okay, Maggie, seriously.
Sorry, I stand
Behave
corrected.
yourself, will you?
Okay.
They're all,
I mean-
or as they say, they're all champions.
You know, the horses that have won those races aren't bad, aren't slouches, but he's done literally no running.
I agree. So you like the cutback with Phantom Jewel? You're going to get him to run straight in the stretch? Katie's probably really looking forward to getting on this one because
Who'd you
he's a bit
pick?
of a bad actor,
Who'd
isn't
you
he?
pick, mister?
Well, we'll get to him. No,
Oh,
I'm
you
not.
make
I'm not going to be shocked if yours wins. I mean, I assume. I think the cutback to one turn is going to work. Now, here's the other one for Gary Contessa. Can Gary win a race that's not a graded stake?
Only 2 races he won.
It's unbelievable. Has there ever been a trainer that had 2 wins in a year and they were both graded stakes? Bookending
is-
Saratoga too.
Insanity.
First day and last day.
Can somebody get on that?
I
I'd
mean,
love
it is
to know.
really incredible when
It
you think about it. It's
really
really one of the great achievements in racing history.
Yeah, so face winners last time too. Wasn't necessary. I know
It's a good spot for him last
not
time,
two for
yeah.
25.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
They weren't terrible horses.
Doing us,
either.
I'm sure he was doing us a favor,
They
so
came
I'm
back
not.
and won. You know, I wish I would feel more confident if I knew that the track was maybe going to be dry, because his race 2 back on a dry surface is his best.
Oh no, I agree. He can win off that race. I like the cutback to 1 turn for him. I agree. Maybe it'll have less shenanigans because he is kind of a lug-in type sort
Yeah,
of horse. He
yeah.
did it up at Woodbine. He did it here.
Yeah.
Level Up. I made a mistake and did not set in the replay. But if you haven't seen the stumble
Whoa.
of this start,
5 strides I counted on his knees.
how did that guy stay on him?
On his knees with his head between it like that. Oh, whoa.
And you know what else was weird about him? The waiver.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they've had him for a while, but
yeah.
you wouldn't mind losing. You don't want to lose him for 20,000.
Well,
Thought that was a good sign that he's in for a waiver.
it looks. I don't know Jack Abrams. I don't. But they're
couldn't
all
pick him
they
out of
are
the lineup, so.
small stables. So sometimes with not that many horses, you don't want to lose them if you put that much work into them.
He's 0 for 6 off the claim in the dirt, but I thought this was interesting horse shipping in, the rider coming to ride as well.
Sure.
And I was just looking for somebody, Mag, and why not a fresh face? And that was some stumble.
Yeah,
last
it's
time.
just gonna have to do it off the layoff.
Wasn't there a
took recency.
Judmon horse that stumbled like that? Maybe, I don't think it was Tacitus. I feel like there's a filly of theirs once, somewhere in the last 5 or so years, where the horse was literally on its belly for like a full second.
I know. Oh, God.
Whatever. It's hard to remember. Anyway, it's a funny race, and there's a couple of really funny horses in there. We'll see what happens. Race number 6 is a good one, too, because in a lot of ways, it's a repeat of
The
a race we
earlier
already ran
Yeah.
and a race won by 13 Red Flags. And People want to ran 13 red flags, why she's eligible. She ran for a tag last time, and now she's in for the condition in this
Very
race. She was a massive overlay. We can roll that replay last time out when she paid 5-1.
Yeah.
The difference here is, though, last time she got so much pace to run into,
Right.
and there just doesn't project to be nearly. And this was a supersonic pace.
It really was. And I mean, you saw Sohana, who we'll see in here again. She was involved in it. She kind of took back a little bit off the turn because she just couldn't keep up. And then while 13 Red Flags was able to kind of split horses
Got a
and save
great
a little
ride,
bit more
actually.
ground. Yeah, but Isaac Castillo,
This is
he's
a terrific
impressed
ride
me.
by him, yeah. It's a really good ride.
And Sohana, then was kind of outside. And she was able to re-rally of one of the only horses that was somewhat forward
I
in
agree
this
with you.
race.
I thought of the horses
And
coming
now
out of
she
that
looks-
race.
And now she looks loose in here,
I
thought.
mean, I guess Sweet Brown Sugar maybe shows a little speed
Well,
outside of her, but
what's funny is she was getting to the lead at Finger Lakes with 23 and 2, 24.
No, I
Those
know.
are slow. And she hasn't sniffed the lead in her 2 Naira starts.
I 1,000% agree with you. If the winner of this race comes out of that race, it is so much supposed to be Sohana.
Yeah. Now, City Blocks, I mean, she just, every start she improves. And I thought her last race was really good when she graduated.
And that's the thing. We'll take a look at her last race. She beat all those hot first-time starters. Now, I know they didn't run a huge figure. Eddie Barker's barn has been going very well. His horses are all running well. As you say, she's improved with every start. I think she can maybe get herself into position a little bit here. I am not against Sohana at all. I completely agree with you that she's the horse to beat in this race. I just, sometimes I like, you got a race where you've got so many horses coming out of the same race. Not sure about that overall race. And I thought Eddie's horse is
New face.
improving, and I'll take this horse going forward. I'm all 3s and 4s in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Scarlet Stream intrigued me slightly with the turn back in distance because I remember last time, I don't feel like it's ever a great sign, especially when taking a short price, as she was favored last time, when you kind of throw the kitchen sink off of them, off of a win. She was getting LASIK,
Yeah.
she was getting blinkers, and I asked Pat Reynolds, why are you putting blinkers on it? It was a shorter cut blinker, and he said, I want her to focus more in the gate and brake better.
Good
And
call,
she
Pat.
She did break better.
I kid. I like
but then
Pat.
it made her a
I'm
little
sure he
bit
laughed.
rank, and so I just thought taking the blinkers off, getting a little less ground, I think makes a bit more sense for her.
I think part of training is guessing, is hoping you're guessing correctly.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
and the good thing is that Pat probably looks and says, probably shouldn't have done that. The
Yeah,
one thing I would say about that
absolutely.
race, and I'm not sure that this is a massive knock, that figure could be a 30, not a 45, because that's a race they had. This track has been impossible to make figures on. This is not a criticism of the Beyer figs because every figure maker is struggling.
Yeah.
That's a race where they pumped it up a little bit and
It
they
just
probably
changes
shouldn't have.
so much.
Horses have been bad coming out of that race. So it's almost like she was a complete no-show, and off of her prior 2 races, she's a huge player in here, and she'll be a better price today.
Yeah.
So that's why I put her 3rd. I agree.
Yeah.
I've got the 8. Was the 8? Oh, guys, I screwed up. I thought the 7 was the 8. That's why. I would have had the 7 4th. That mistake is on me. I wrote 8 on top of my program. I meant the 7. I meant 13 Red Flags Horse because I do think she's pretty good. I think she's possible in here. I just prefer others.
Yeah, I last time kind of was the time for her.
Yeah, I agree. And she was an outrageous price. So I actually am 3, 4, 1, 7. I will fix those on the website. Race number 7. The reality of race number 7 is that the even money favorite, Carapara, and we'll show her last race, she's just so much the horse to
I didn't
beat
wanna
in
take
here.
her, though, Andy.
No, I didn't either, and
She
I'm
hung.
trying to be creative.
She hung last
She
time.
did, but Bonadju is better than. What price
yeah,
would Bonadju be in
yeah,
this race?
1 to 9.
And I'm not, and I agree with you. She hung, but she hung against horse that's a lot better, and she did win 3 races
And I'm
back.
complaining taking her on top here.
Where else are you gonna go?
Well, Starry Midnight,
I'm going to give her one chance. I'm hoping the track dries out.
that's it.
I'm not.
That's it. You're banking on Mother Nature
Yep.
and the track and the tracker to get this thing dried out because
She was
it's
awful on a
clear
wet track
she
last
does
time.
not handle a wet track. I mean, as soon as she came off the bridle for Jose last time, she was like, "Ugh," and just up and down on the spot.
And people wondering, Adam Rice deputizing Linda's got a 2-week suspension
Yes.
is it, to serving.
Yes.
So Adam Rice, so you'll see him saddling those horses. I just, and we'll go back to Starry Midnight's win 2 back. This track is going to, I don't mind if the track is good and harrowed.
Yeah,
I don't worry,
no,
I just don't
want it
really
wet,
want
wet.
it on a sealed track.
Right.
And I'll make a decision then. And
Right.
I just, if you want to take a horse against Carapara, the only other horse I could take is Bella Principessa.
Yep.
But she's in the same boat as Starry Midnight because you want her on a fast, on a Harrow track as well. So she's got the same
Exactly.
problem, and I prefer Starry Midnight on the same circumstances.
Well, the problem though with Bella Principessa is she has handled wet sealed tracks in the past, and she
Not
was
last
really
time.
bad last time.
Yep.
So I wanted to take her, but
No, I know.
An
I don't think she's
untrustworthy
impossible. Look, we saw the race
opponent.
basically the same way. It's Carapara, if you want to take the others. Now, the race, I think everybody's been waiting for is
yeah.
today's 8th, because there's really nothing quite like a 10-horse field that scratches down to 5 to really get you excited. And not only that, I'm not going to tell you why one of the horses scratched her. It's too irritating. Lucky and Gorgeous, Pat's off the hook because she's entered on Thursday. So you knew she was going to come out.
Right.
Others, whatever reasons. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm picking. I'm picking Dancing Leanna because she's actually a couple horses could run okay. And I want Jimmy Ryerson to win a race because he hasn't been able to enter a horse because of the herpes situation.
Quarantine for a
And it
month.
was not his barn, but it's the barn where he was stabled. And so I'm rooting for Jimmy that he's able to finally get some horses back in, and I think he deserves some
let me
good luck.
tell you, as a wife of a trainer who went through that,
That's right.
it sucks. It is the most frustrating thing ever.
And I think it's silly that they're not able to enter until the day the quarantine's listed. They should be able to
Yeah.
enter for
I mean, we
races
want all the
after,
horses to
but-
be safe and
course.
and
You
everything.
had no
I mean,
choice.
The
No-
reason the week was even more absurd than, but whatever. But yeah, I'm such a fan of Jimmy's too.
It's a game.
And it does have decent workouts. I mean, for this level of horse, at least the workout shown 2 and 3 back.
And you've got the 9. I guess she could win. I'll take the horse she finished ahead of Callie Storm last time, who might have made a little bit of a premature move, but still, and maybe a little less distance will help
I
her.
thought Manny was a little
Over-aggressive, too?
under. Like
Really?
he took like this huge hold of her early when nobody wanted to go.
Maybe
and
thought
it
if
was
it's only going a
super
mile, it might be a-
slow No, I get.
And the
why
winner
he
was a
did
heavy,
it in
heavy favorite. The winner was a
hindsight.
heavy favorite, to be
Right.
fair.
And and then I thought, I thought it was finally a good effort for her. And I don't know. Look, there's no superstars in here, but look, Dancing
No,
Leanna,
there
I can definitely see winning here.
Yeah. And I think that
for that
a lot of
reason.
people don't understand, and it happened, we had that bit of that debacle in yesterday's Tom Fool, the amount of moving parts in horse racing, and you see it so much more than I do because you're in the backstretch in the morning. It's like a friend of mine who's been a movie producer for 40 years, 35 years, 40 years. He said to me one day, he said, you have no idea
No
how
idea.
hard it is to make a movie and what it means to get a movie made. And it's the same thing here. The amount of things that can go wrong, and often do go wrong, I'm kind of amazed a lot of times we make it through a day.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes underappreciate how many people have to do kind of hard jobs well and
Right.
complicated jobs
Right.
to not screw things up
Yep.
on a regular basis. And so hopefully people can be a little more patient. And I'm the least patient guy in the world, but it's a tough game. And we have the easier jobs, frankly.
Oh
around
yeah,
here,
totally.
by far.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I'm glad that Jimmy's able to run his horse again.
Yes.
And I hope he has a little bit of luck. Maggie, thanks. Always fun to do the show with
Yeah.
you. We'll be on from 2 to 5 again today. And you head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code BONUS200, and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit when you're over at Naira Bets. Check out the track stats. Who knows what you might uncover. Find those stats, find some numbers that kind of interest you. Check those out at Naira Bets. We have a $15 bonus. You bet 50 or more at Aqueduct, Oaklawn, Santa Anita. Opt in at Naira Bets for that. You can be eligible. Big cap day at Santa Anita. Of course, Oaklawn, much of that card will be available as well. We have a cross-country Big 5 next. 5-7 here, 7-8-9 at Oaklawn. Keep in mind, we were supposed to be on 3 to 6. We changed it to 2 to 5, so we'll only be showing through race 7 at Oaklawn, and that'll be 2 to 5 on FS2. Once again, Maggie, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks to you for watching. Chris Griffin, up next, reprise, scratches and changes. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com